This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
In October 1841, Brant Mayer, a 32-year-old lawyer from Baltimore, Maryland, arrived in Mexico City to take his post as secretary to the U.S. legation in Mexico. His hotel, the Gran Sociedad, Grand Society, was on the corner of Espiritu Santo and Refugio Streets, 2 blocks from the main plaza. Like other colonial structures on the block, the hotel was a 2-story building with a spacious interior patio. Inside was a cafe that served snacks, ice cream, and liquor, and a fancy dining room that offered French meals twice a day. On the second floor there was a gaming room with billiards and card tables. The hotel was aptly named because it was frequented by the creme de la creme of Mexican society. On theater nights, couples dropped by the cafe for refreshments, and in the afternoons and evenings, men of leisure filled the gaming room with their cigar smoke as they played cards. After checking in, the eager traveler exited the Grand Society to take a walk and explore. As he wandered down the street, enveloped by the hubbub of city life, Mayer tipped his hat to the upper-class women, who wore expensive gowns and sported small, delicately embroidered pieces of fabric over their heads. He observed women of lesser means, clad in unadorned petticoats and plain dresses, and wearing colored shawls called rebozos, walking alongside barefoot Indians in misshapen, soft hats and torn clothes. Horse-drawn coaches rolled down the cobblestone street as groups of people crossed the thoroughfare. Not far from the hotel, on Tacuba Street, Mayer sauntered along a row of street stalls that sold produce, drinks, and religious items. One shop in particular, a butcher's stall, caught his eye. It was built out of 4 large boards and had large cuts of beef hanging from the ceiling, garlands of linked sausage streaming across the boards, and a fierce-looking live rooster tied to the front counter. On the back wall of the structure was a cheaply printed image of the Virgin of Guadalupe, who had miraculously revealed herself to the Mexican peasant Juan Diego in 1531, and who had been the spiritual counsel and comfort of the Mexican people ever since. The dark, curly-haired butcher in his bloody leather apron was laughing as he spoke to the women in rebozos at his counter. He took out a small guitar and began to sing, making his customers laugh, but Mayer was too far away to understand the words. He pulled his pocket watch from his vest and realized he should get back to the Café de la Gran Sociedad for his appointment with other members of the U.S. legation. He turned away from the butcher's stall and walked back up the street, pausing once again to tip his hat to another lady of distinction and trying to ignore the pleading children in rags at his heels. I describe scenes from Brant Mayer's arrival in Mexico City to use them as a metaphor for the subject matter of this book. Only a few blocks from his hotel, Mayer had encountered the rich and contrasting tapestry of mid-19th century Mexico, where different classes of people crossed paths and rubbed shoulders. He saw the accoutrements and spaces of privilege at the aptly named Grand Society and caught a fleeting glimpse of how the humbler classes lived and moved around the city. In light of these dramatic contrasts, limited to a few blocks of Mexico City in 1841, the idea of summarizing and interpreting 19th-century Mexican culture, to say nothing of Spanish American culture in general, seems impossible. After all, culture is everywhere around living people, in the organization of space, in variations of language, in pastimes and belief systems, and much more.